All right. So I can't really, can you guys like get cozy? Because I can't really see on the little cutoff screen. There we
I don't know.
Now I don't see Beth. Oh, now I see Beth. Okay. Yeah. All right. Get all cozy. So we are live. Thank you guys for coming and talking to me. I'm going to explain this next comment real quick. So Jeff and Beth are two of my California native friends. So I love it because they get a lot. There you go, San Diego. And they get, they understand what it's like to be a Californian moving to Minnesota. So I wanted to ask them, so you're not at the cabin this weekend? Yeah. You're not at the cabin? You didn't go to the cabin? So when I first moved here, everyone's like, we're going to the cabin. I'm like, oh, I can do cabin. Like, I can rough it. Yeah, it's not roughing it. You get up there and it's like a second beautiful home that everyone goes to the cabin during the summer, all Minnesotans, right? And this is the big kickoff cabin weekend.
Right.
So you are at the cabin.
That cabin can mean anything from a tent to a second home.
Right.
And it tends to veer toward the second home aspect. Like I've been to one rustic cabin in all my 17 years living here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is a cabin. Okay.
Yeah, my parents have a cabin. Yeah.
They have a cabin. Okay. Yeah. So I just thought that was really funny. I'm like, oh, Jeff and Beth aren't at the cabin, so they can join us on Memorial Day. So thank you for hopping on to my live. You are my second guest. So second and third guest. And it's just kind of something fun I'm doing. And do you want to introduce yourselves besides being from California originally?
I mean, that's pretty good. That's all you need to know. Why don't we go? Who are we?
Who are we? I'm Beth, Shelby.
I'm Beth, Balmanno, Shelby.
We're married. We didn't just walk into the house together.
Yeah.
But from a writing standpoint, I think we write together under my name, under multiple pseudonyms, mostly mystery, some romance, a little bit of everything. And I think between us, we now have about 100 books out there.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm originally from California. She's originally from here when she was little, but
I'm an 80 brat, so I moved around everywhere. So California was the place I lived the longest. So I sort of call that my home.
And you guys are high school sweethearts, right? Kind of knew each other.
Mostly, there may have been a little hitch
for 20 years.
But yes, one of us, and there's no need to point the finger. One of us broke up with the other near that dance that happened at the end of the school year. That's kind of a big deal. And then you didn't speak for 20 years, and then it all came back together. So, you know.
Yeah.
You better not do anything dumb again, because there's a 20-year punishment coming for you, Jeff, and you're older now.
I hold that over him constantly.
You should. Oh, that's funny. But you guys are so prolific. And what would you recommend that my readers start with? I don't know. They might like romance too, but would you say what of your mystery probably would be more up their alley? Would you suggest they start with if they were going to just intro to your work?
I think the book that's probably closest to your Gia books and what you write is probably Thread of Hope, which is the Joe Tyler series. And that book was written a long time ago, and actually couldn't find a home for a long time. And actually, Beth was the one that why don't you throw it into that magical KDP machine kind of thing. This was going back to 2011.
Yeah, I think it was.
I believe it was. And we actually, because it had been shot, nothing happened, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually New Year's Eve. We were literally sitting on the living room floor with a glass of wine, and we loaded it up and said, okay, well, let's see what happens. And good things happened. And so that sort of started the whole independent side of our career, so to speak. But I think that's the book that probably is similar. It's about a man whose own daughter has been kidnapped, and her disappearance has haunted him for years. And he hasn't been able to move on with his life as he searches for her. But in the meantime, he's able to help other people find their missing loved ones. So it's a little dark, a little gritty, very kind of suspenseful-ish with cliffhangeries and that kind of stuff. So
I freaking adore that series. I absolutely love it so much. So I would totally recommend that as well. Jeff and Beth told me years ago, like, hey, because you both, I think, have been traditionally published through big names. And it's like, well, let's try this and see what happens. And I should have listened to them, and I will forevermore listen to them when they give me advice right off the bat instead of waiting. I think I waited 3 years, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try self-publishing. And it was the best thing I've ever done. So I listen to whatever they tell me to do from here on out. So thanks. So this is just kind of a thank you for the introduction and which book people should check out. And I will link to that once we're done. I'll put a link because I know my readers would absolutely adore that. And then maybe we could just link to maybe some romance too, because they do read romance. I mean, yeah. So meanwhile, let's just go to our fun questions. It should be super easy. And these are selfish for me to find out what my author friends are doing so I can add it to my list. So the first question, I can't remember I think it's what you're binge watching.
So
yeah, okay. I will totally own this. I don't binge watch anything. So I think I'm probably one of the 10 people in the United States who hasn't watched Parks and Rec, didn't watch it when it was actually on TV. So Jeff convinced me that we should watch it. And he's like, you will totally love it. And he's right. I'm convinced I am just an incarnation of Leslie. So, but we only watch 2 episodes a night. That's it. So it's taking us forever to get through. Cause how many seasons are there? 7?
6
9?
or 7.
I don't know.
We're in the middle of season 4.
Right. So occasionally I'll be all, whoa, let's watch 3, let's just really go all out. But normally it's 2. So we're not really binge watching.
She's not a huge TV person. I can sit down and watch quite a bit. She's not a huge TV person. So just sitting down every night for 60 to 90 minutes has been an adjustment of what we normally do in the evenings. That was not really a thing. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah. So my daughter is dying for the second season of The Umbrella Academy to come out because we saw the trailer and it's coming out, I think, July 31st. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And I was like, yeah. I said, depending on how many episodes there are, we can watch one every night. And she was like, what? I am totally going to binge that. And I was like, no. We have to watch one a night. So there's your answer. I'm not a binger. Maybe quarantine will make me binge eventually.
The other thing that we started and we decided we were going to, trying to get her to commit to one thing was that in itself, there was a bit of a hurdle. So once we committed, we couldn't really deviate. But we also started What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, wow. What is that?
Oh, God.
Well, so and actually, I'll tell you who recommended it to us. It was Dan Mellman.
Oh, well, I like it then. For sure.
Right. He and Kate were watching it. And I don't know if they made it all the way through, but it's a half-hour show on FX. Mm-hmm. And it's basically these vampires have landed in the United States in contemporary times. Staten Island.
Okay.
And so they have been tasked with overthrowing, this
complete and total domination of the new world,
this new land. And so it's these strangers in a strange new land kind of thing where they don't. So just this is the tone of it is they find this guy in Staten Island and it's like, take us to your leaders. And they end up getting taken to the city council meeting in Staten Island. So I think we watched 2 or 3 of the first episodes. It was very, very funny. I think there's 2 seasons on FX. It was very funny.
So until you got to the city council part, I was thinking Charlene Harris, dark, and then I'm like, whoa, wait, that's funny. Okay.
No, the vampires are total dorks and they take themselves way too seriously. And no one else takes them seriously at all.
But then it has those office elements, right? Where they talk to you. So it's like a documentary where they're it's very funny.
Okay.
It's funny.
I just wrote that down. And okay, Beth, solidarity here. I have never watched even one episode of Parks and Rec.
Oh my gosh.
So there's 9 of us wait, 11 of us in the world that have never watched it. And I guess that I have been using the term binging loosely because I just love Beth. And the more I know about her, the more I love her. But I don't like watch TV either. And because of this, now I watch an episode a night of something. And like right now I'm watching, what am I watching? Oh, Queen of the South. But that's my binging. I didn't know you had to do it all in a row. I just thought if I'm doing it for 30 days every night, that's binging. Maybe not.
Like it, right? Like if it's outside of what you normally do. So yeah, I'll use that one. So maybe I'll binge watch it that way.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I do. And like I said, like you do, if I'm feeling really crazy, I might do 2 episodes at night or whatever. Yeah, so very cool. I will check out what we do in the shadows, and then I'll see if Michael would be fun to watch Park and Rec. It's always fun to like watch with your husband if they laugh a lot. Like that makes it like heightens the experience. So
it is. You know what? I mean, there's so much seriousness and sort of hanging over you. So to be able to check out for a half an hour or an hour every night and watch something that is funny and silly, and that there's also some, elements that you can identify with. That escapism is really nice. So
that's almost one of the answers probably to my third question, but we'll get there in a sec. Okay, so what are you guys reading right now? If you have time to read, like sometimes it's hard to concentrate with everything going on. I get it. I know.
So what's been weird for me is I've actually been able to read. Like I've complained over the last 2 years that I have had a difficult time reading and getting through books. I've just had a really hard time. I've actually been able to read. So I just finished, and nobody will care about this, I just finished a book about baseball. It was called K. It's a history of baseball through the 10 pitches. And it was fascinating for baseball dorks who wanted historical stuff and who missed baseball and could read about all the, the fun nuance and stuff. So I finished that. And then I just started, and I got to give credit to Malman again for this. This sucks. He read it first and said it was great. It's I Want My MTV. It's an oral history of MTV and its formation and all the different genesis that it's gone through. And I'm only 100 pages in, but it's awesome. I really like oral histories too. So.
And for our generation, like we're the same generation, like we were raised on MTV, like we were there for the whole thing. So I could see where that'd be a little blast from the past.
Just this morning, I was reading about how Duran, like how they filmed Girls on Film on purpose, the way that it was done to be scandalous because they knew it would get banned, but it would get them attention. So for old people like us, that was totally fascinating to read.
Not to mention, it's good. It's a good marketing thing to learn. Like,
it totally
what to do, right?
It totally was. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So what are you guys going to do to get your books banned now that you read that little bit?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay. Get some attention. And what about you, Beth? Are you able to read it right now?
No, I'm not doing a lot of book reading. I actually just re-upped, or actually signed up for The Atlantic and got my, I did like the digital and the print copy, and my print copy came, and I thought Jeff was going to wrestle it out of my hands because he was like, "Oh my God, it's a magazine!" Delivered to our door. So I've, that's sort of where my attention span is like, I feel like I'm in this information where I just want to consume everything. So fiction isn't working for me, and nonfiction, like the things I gravitate towards are so depressing that it's like,
right.
Away from all that. So I've just really been sort of poring over my first 2 issues of The Atlantic and finding out that way back when there were actually people who would go to battlefields and remove the teeth of cadavers so that they could make dentures from them. That
this is all research.
Oh my gosh, okay, I guess things really aren't that bad right now. At least people aren't stealing our teeth.
Oh, and so I'm working part-time for the Pioneer Press, which because of furlough, I've been ending up working like I had a 50-hour week and I had a 40-hour week. And I won't even talk. But anyway, they bought this food warehouse in St. Paul that is to store bodies. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah. So
I know.
Yeah, it's hard not to hear all the dark stuff. So I can see where you'd want to maybe get away from that, even though now you're looking at cadavers and teeth.
But it was a long time ago, so it feels okay.
It doesn't really affect.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Things could be worse, I guess.
And I should say really quickly that Dan Malman is a we all live in Minnesota. He lives in St. Paul with his lovely wife, Kate. And I think are they still Crime Spree magazine reviewers?
I think so. And I mean, I think they're on the podcast. It's Writer Types.
Oh, okay. They're on a podcast.
So yeah, they're not writers of fiction. They are he always describes it, I think, as fans first, and then they've sort of fallen into being able to review and contribute to the mystery community in different ways. So,
and they are definitely a fixture in the mystery community for sure. And they live in Minnesota too. And so I think, did you guys know them before we had a party?
No, that was the night was at your house.
Okay, so once upon a time when I was more social, I used to have parties of people who were involved in mystery. When Owen Laukkanen came to town on tour, and so had a bunch of people over. Got to meet Jeff and Beth in person. I think I had met the Malmans a couple times, but yeah, it was many years later, we're all still in touch, which is really great. So, but the Malmans are great. And I love their recommendations. And every time I think of Dan, I think of the Beastie Boys, which is a really cool association for me because I love the Beastie Boys.
It's not even close to being that cool, but okay.
And you and Dan and Kate share the baseball thing big time.
Yes.
Yeah. Did we all go to a Red Sox game together? Was that?
No,
you were invited, I think.
I think we were gone, actually. I think when that was happening. And also I hate the Red Sox, so no way.
Yeah, we would have had to sit apart from you.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay. Now, tell me what you guys are doing for any type of self-care right now, besides avoiding reading and dark things.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there's lots. There's lots of little things. I mean, so for me, I would say one is reading. And actually, you put, I think, in your newsletter last week or 2 weeks ago about how you read in the mornings.
Oh, how I read nonfiction in the mornings is part of the routine.
One of my issues was that I can't read at night because I'm so tired and so old. So I'll get in bed when I used to read for an hour and a half, and I can't do it. Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to start leaving the book down here on the coffee table in the morning and start reading in the morning. And that has been huge. I've been able to read probably more than I should, actually, particularly when I get into reading about Duran Duran. But being able to read consistently in the mornings has been huge for me. But so those types of routines we've done, I mean, you can't see in the photo, but we've got the wine bottles over there. So there's, a little bit of wine in the evening.
We're not above self-medicating.
We're not above self-medicating. Beth or peanut M&Ms like nobody.
That's my self-care. It's peanut M&Ms right now.
I think I don't know that even consciously necessarily try to do this, but I think we've tried to have something that is fun every day. And so she found a class, an online class with the political cartoonist for Politico. Mm-hmm. So we did an online cartooning class.
We pretty much never illustrate a book.
It was super fun. We have this game called Headbands. I don't know.
Is it where you have? Yeah. That's a good one.
So we've had many rounds of that, but we've adapted it to not using the cards that are with the game, but we'll play it with Disney characters is big in this house because I'm the only one who can't get any of the Disney characters.
He thought Flounder was in Finding Nemo. It's Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay.
See, not everybody knows.
Oh, and I'm thinking Thumper. Okay.
So
you lose those rounds.
I lose all the rounds. And it doesn't matter. They can give me the easiest character, whatever, and I just can't.
And because he's so competitive, it's super fun to see him lose headbands to the 14-year-old who can literally guess hers in 5 questions.
It sucks. I'm going to throw the game out this week.
I love that you're doing it as a family too. That's really, that's one of the benefits of what's going on is we have teenagers who can't socialize with their friends. So they come out of their dark caves and talk to us and want to hang out with us. And it's like, wow, that's really cool. I'm enjoying that a lot. So
yeah, I think I'm trying to think about it. I mean, she spent a lot of time outside working on the yard and the gardens and that kind of stuff when it's weather-wise, when it's feasible.
Right. Well, I feel like I want to be outdoors as much as I possibly can too. I totally get that. Like, Are you growing any vegetables or flowers or landscaping?
Right now, it's primarily weed control because, typically I have all these grand plans every single spring. Like, oh, I'm going to do all this stuff. And then it's like life gets in the way and you've got kids who need to go places and going to the cabin and, all those things. And so I always am like, oh, I'll get to that. And then I don't. And so now our yard is like an overgrown jungle. So I figured, like, literally, truly, every year I say, this is the year I'm going to do this. And now I'm thinking to myself, this probably is the year because I can't do it.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh. We've made a lot of progress. I mean, there's always a vegetable garden. So, yeah, there's stuff growing in there. But this is just getting, like, the yard under control.
Yeah, so. and that's good to do. I mean, it's just good to be outside active like that. I love that. And you guys go for walks too, Michael and I, right? I think I heard you say that before. You go for walks.
The dog has to get outside every day, which
yeah.
But yeah, usually every late afternoon we're out for about an hour or so.
That's great. Yeah. I think that's definitely saving my sanity is going for an hour walk every day for sure. So
that is like one more self-care thing that is sort of like we didn't plan on it being self-care, but I think it's turned into is normally Jeff travels. So he comes back and forth. He's here for a week and then he's in Texas for a week. Yeah. And we haven't been doing that because airline travel isn't really part of the equation right now. And driving back and forth is a little bit difficult. So I have found that for me personally, and I think for you, that actually being able to spend all of this time together has been so nice. That is in itself its own self-care because we can do this together. Whereas, our typical lifestyle is 1 week on, 1 week off. So and just the whole everything slowed down, and that you can enjoy each other's company more. That's really nice. Yeah. I was wondering about that. I thought it was too personal to ask. If Jeff was doing any traveling. I know that there was one point where you did a little bit of driving back and forth, but for the most part, you're able to stay put for an extended period, which is really, really nice.
Yeah. So if there is an, unintended benefit, I guess, for us, it's that where things have pretty much been normal. Normal in the sense that we get to be together and we don't have to worry about the weekending or going to the airport, that kind of stuff. So that's been pretty nice. So.
And I think it's totally okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not sympathetic or understanding of all the people who are experiencing horrible times and all the tragedy going on. It doesn't discount any of that to say like, yeah, there are some blessings personally for what's going on. I'm experiencing some good things because of all this. It doesn't discount all the terrible parts of it. That's kind of how I look at it. Just I think it helps to be grateful. Like I'm grateful that I have all this time with my family right now. And, we have our good health and that's what matters. And
it's the silver linings, we had a daughter who graduated from college and there was no ceremony, and that was hard for her. She was supposed to get married July 11th and with a big wedding planned, and that's not going to happen. They'll get married, but those things. So, we've had friends who have been sick and who are still sick and fighting this virus and, hard not to think about all of the tragedies. But I also think that part of that self-care is being able to look internally, look at your own surroundings and what your circumstances are and go, okay, you know what? I need to find something positive in whatever's happening. At least that's for me personally. Like I have to be able to find something to, just sort of get through it. And those are the little things that we find. We can go for a walk. We've got each other. Peanut M&Ms. Like literally I stuffed a handful in my mouth before we got on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, regardless of what's going on in the world, that is just a really great attitude and healthy attitude to have. It's like, what can I be grateful for right now? You know, what is good? What can I appreciate? So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being live, and I'll put links to maybe Beth, we can talk and you can tell me a link to something that you or you guys can discuss.
No, I would say if you, rather than the romance, I mean, if you have romance authors or romance readers, that's great. But if people want mysteries and they just want something fun and lighthearted, to look at the cozies, because those are just pure escape and fun. I mean, there's nothing tragic that happens in those books. And they're under Jeff's name. They're under Allie Roberts. We've got it. So that would be kind of what I would sort of steer people to. So maybe should I steer them to Jeff's Amazon page, and then and then Allie Roberts' Amazon page, and then they can peruse. I'm sure I have cozy readers here too, for sure. Yeah, and if they want a window literally into our lives, if they start with the murder pit, that's basically our family in a nutshell. It's really truly based on something that happened in this house. So, and every character is a caricature of our family. So. Yeah.
I love that. And I can't believe that. I need to read that then. Like, I had no idea.
Well, and you need to come up here to the house and we can show you. What the genesis of that story was. You would die.
Yeah.
You could charge for that.
That's right. Yeah.
Buy the book, pay extra for the tour. Well, thank you guys. I'm having a hard time with this platform seeing any comments. So if there are some, I'm sorry, I did not see them, and we can jump on later. But I'm going to stop the live stream. So thank you. And hopefully I won't lose you guys. Yeah.
Take care.